Welcome to Magic Arcanum. I'm Ryan Gomez, and I'm so glad you're here because it's story time. Our last video was Stocking Stuffer Stories. You guys seem to really enjoy that one. I had a lot of fun making it, and if you missed it, you can still go back and check it out. I won't spoil it for you. I will tell you though, make sure you pack a healthy snack. I'm thinking like a banana. This is the first Magic Arcanum of the new year, and I'm excited to talk about Ravnica Allegiance, but we don't yet have enough of the story spotlight cards to really know what's going on there. So instead, we're going to talk about something else that's relevant to the set, Guildgates. These non-basic lands first showed up in Return to Ravnica, but we're seeing them again now with new art and new story implications. Life on Ravnica is structured around 10 different guilds, each made up of 2 colors of mana. Each guild has their own corresponding guild gate, which represents the entryway into part of that guild's territory. Here's the original Boros Guild Gate, for example. Looks like we're seeing kind of a fortress or a barracks, maybe. The Izzet Guild Gate shows kind of a power plant or a steamworks. And the Rakdos Guild Gate shows the waiting room for a dentist office. You get it. Now, back in Return to Ravnica and Gatecrash, each guild got their own gate. The art on it was kind of a zoomed-in look. Then in Dragon's Maze, the third set in that block, all 10 got reprinted with a wider angle view of the same scene. The flavor text on these original gates also held a hidden message. Some of the letters were printed above their normal type line, and if you collected all those and unscrambled them correctly, you would reveal a secret phrase. The guilds of Ravnica will destroy each other unless the maze is solved and the guild pact reborn. It turns out the gates were part of an implicit maze that ran throughout the city, and whoever could complete running the maze would be bestowed upon the title and powers of the guild pact, the sort of grand arbiter of all of Ravnica, a living guardian of the peace between all the guilds. The finish line for this maze is captured in the card Maze's End, which made for an interesting standard deck at the time. So that deck would just play a bunch of cards that prevented all combat damage, so you could just ignore your opponent while they're trying to kill you, and eventually just kind of grind out enough gates that you would win the game. It wasn't super interactive, but it was different. The Planeswalker Jace completed the maze and became the living guild pact as represented on the matching card, which does not have anything to do with gates. Huh? Now, the gates by themselves don't really do anything special, but there were some cards in Return to Ravnica, Gatecrash, and Dragon's Maze that cared about you controlling gates, so that made them useful picks in draft because they would power up those cards especially, but they'd also let you cast your multicolored spells more easily. In Guilds of Ravnica, the gates returned, but now they're no longer just a marker for a maze. This time, the gates are back twice within the same set, giving us a chance to appreciate some of their not-so-subtle differences. Each gate now has a front door and a back door version, and the flavor text on them highlights the inner conflict that the guild is facing. Take a peek at the Golgari Guild Gate, for example.
Because Vraska?
Yes, Nicole, because Vraska. One of them features a quote from Vraska, the current leader of the guild, and she's under control of Nicol Bolas. The other has a quote from Izoni, who was friends with Gerard, and he was the previous ruler of the Golgari, until Vraska had him eliminated. This pattern is repeated on almost every gate pair between Guilds of Ravnica and Ravnica Allegiance. I say almost all the gate pairs because the Gruul one actually messes it up, and that's either because somebody wasn't paying attention, or it's actually really on flavor for the guild who would not care about following the pattern at all. I'll leave that for you to decide. Anyway, one guild gate will have a quote or text about the current leader of that guild, while the other will have a different perspective coming from the other faction within the guild. You can learn a lot more about these characters and their conflicts in the video What's Happening on Ravnica, and once we have the full story for Ravnica Allegiance, we'll make another video that covers the second half of the guilds. Guilds of Ravnica also introduced the first non-guild affiliated gate card, Gateway Plaza. Now that gives Maze's End another target to go fetch up, so if you're still trying to make that work in Modern or Commander, hey, there you go, good luck with that. The plaza reminds us of a time when the guilds did cooperate, And for a world that's full of inherent conflict like Ravnica is, that's actually saying quite a bit. Having that many people get along together was probably always a tricky arrangement, and it didn't take much for Nicol Bolas to start moving things out of balance. Working from behind the scenes, Nicol Bolas has already assumed indirect control of 5 out of the 10 guilds, and the plaza probably stands empty now, but the Guildgates might still have a role to play in the story. Aside from doing some general world building and being a convenient way to cast your spells during a draft, there might be more going on with the Guildgates than we can currently see. Last time, they were the key to unlocking the power of the Guild Pact that changed Jace's life forever and shaped the development of Ravnica for years to follow. Are the gates going to be part of Nicol Bolas' plan? Do they protect more than we've already seen? It is too soon to tell. I do think it'd be fun to have another legendary land that rewards you for having 5 different gates this time. Maybe it doesn't win you the game the way Maze's End did for having all 10, but it puts you in a really strong position to do so. I think that could be fun. What are your predictions for what comes next on Ravnica? Which guilds will survive the arrival of Nicol Bolas? Which guild has the coolest looking guild gate? Let me know down in the comments, and then like this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the great stories you'll only find here on Magic Arcanum. I'll see ya.